Hello, YouTube. How the hell are you? This is Around the Sticks with your host, IconicBelow, and today we are talking about the usuals, as always, league play and league leaders, as well as the MVP race, possible changes to the meta, and one of the last possible trades that could be happening this entire league season. But first, we will start off, as always, with the league standings. Optic Gaming right now is in first place with a 25-3 record after going 4-0 this week. Elevate is next, going 19-7 with a 4-0 record as well. Envy went 17-11 after getting their new roster, now finally losing and going 2-2 this week. Denial 15-11 with going 1-3 this week. FaZe 14-12 after going 0-4. TK 11-15 after going 2-2. TCM 11-17 after going 3-1. Justice going 10-16 after going 1-1. AR going 10-16 after going 2-2 last week. Rise going 9-15 after going 1-1 this week, and Prophecy 10-18 after going 2-14, and to finish off the Optic sandwich, Optic Nation going 9-19 after going 2-4. Now let's start breaking down the power rankings for the entire league. Number one, obviously, is Optic Gaming after getting wins over Optic Nation, FaZe, Optic Nation again, and Justice. Number two is the Young God Squad of Elevate, who beat FaZe, AR, Prophecy, and TCM. You could definitely argue for either one of those teams to be in the top spot, but I feel with Optic Gaming's overall win percentage, they're probably going to be a little bit higher. Envy defeated FaZe and Denial. Denial jumps up with a win over AR. TCM jumps up 5 spots, getting wins over TK, Owen, and Denial. Number 6 is TK, who beat Owen and Prophecy. FaZe dropped 3 spots without winning a single game this week. Justice loses 2 spots as well, who only beat FaZe. Number 9 is AR, who beat TK and Prophecy. They only dropped 1 spot. Rise drops another 3 spots after after beating only FaZe. Prophecy beat Envy and Rise, so they probably could have jumped up to the 10 spot if you really wanted to argue it a little bit. And Owen beat Prophecy and Denial, but their losses were devastating, so they decided to stay in 12th place. Now, we do have a few announcements with league things that have happened. Orbit has picked up Pac-Man as their captain. Their roster will be released very soon, and Prophecy decided to trade Mochila to AR. Obviously, we don't know who AR sent back. They have not released that yet. That could be Nagafen, I believe. No, I think that's Remy who is on AR. That's another big thing that's going on right now. The possibility for AR to becoming, not AR, for Prophecy to becoming TR from COD Champs, obviously with Aches instead of Vicento, who is possibly pretty much stopping Call of Duty for right now to work on school. But we will be having to watch that because we don't know who Prophecy traded to FaZe for Aqua. But he is now the fill-in for Mochila. Now, I would like to start breaking down 4 players who have really started to slack off in the past couple weeks after being some of the top 15 players in the league. And now, they're actually below that threshold, with the first one being Sharp. He had a 1.1 KD, I think, around week 6 or 7. And now he's at a 0.94 after playing completely horrible since the league changes. These are since the team changes, so make sure you guys know that. Killa is at a 1.04 before league changes, and now at a 0.93. Chino is the only one who's really kind of not dropped off as far. He started at a 1.13, and now he's at a 0.98. And TP, who is actually the Slayer for Optic Nation, now is back to his objective role at a 1.08 to a 0.92. Now, I really wanted to break down how these objective people play, so I've gone and got 5 of what some people would consider the worst of the objective players, the players who don't kill as much and worry more about caps and uplinks. And then the top 5 objective players. So let's listen to these names. Merc at a 0.78 and 33% of plants in Search and Destroy, which is truthfully surprising if you actually think about it, considering he's been dying around 50% of rounds without getting a kill. So 33% of plants, even on a team like Justice, is actually quite surprising. Embo's at a 0.85 with 8.28 caps per hardpoint. He's within the top 15 in caps per hardpoint, so that's quite impressive. Shane at a 0.85 with 1.04 caps in CTF. Sensor at a 0.87 at 8.5 caps per hardpoint. Obviously, he's doing a little bit better than Embos. Spacely at a 0.87 at a 1.6 caps in CTF. Now, let's start going into the good players. Karma at a 0.99 with 3 points per uplink. TJ Halley at a 1.05 caps per CTF. Jared with a 1 KD at a 1.19 cap per CTF. Enable at a 1.02 and almost 2 points per uplink map. Burns at a 1.06 and 11 caps per hardpoint and leading the league. Now, this is where everything starts to get broken down. There are some players in the middle, like Replays, who can excel a little bit in both. Possibly Classic, if you want to throw him into that mix as well. But these, truthfully, are the best and worst objective players in the league. Obviously, the worst Slayers are going to be the ones who are doing more in the objective base. But if you look at a player like Burns with 11 caps in hardpoint, and he is leading hardpoint caps, still with a 1.06 and in the top 15 in slaying as well, that's impressive. Whereas a player like Embos is really struggling even with 5 caps behind Burns. So obviously the killing potential of Burns or an Enable is definitely helping them out compared to Embos, who isn't really getting that much help in the slaying category. So I hope you guys really do enjoy that, because that really does show how much the killing of players like Burns, Enable, Jared, TJ, and Karma definitely help them out in their objective-based playing. And even with their team, obviously it's going to help them get that push into the hill. So that's definitely going to help them in the long run. Now, let's break down the league leaders this week. Obviously, we are going to start out with Temp at a 1.36, Octane number 2 at a 1.29. It's been impressive, these two players, obviously. They've been slaying out of their mind. Formal at a 1.24, Scump at a 1.21, and then there's a huge drop-off to number 5, Slacked at a 1.12, tied with Huke at a 1.12 as well. Saints is next at a 1.11, Clayster at a 1.1, Happy at a 1.09, who has just been released from AR after the trade for Mochilla. Crim6 at a 1.09 as well. Perfy at a 1.08, Looney at a 1.07, Burns at a 1.06, Zuma at a 1.05, and AR's Classic at a 1.05 as well. Now, there has been 3 new guns introduced into competitive Call of Duty, and I should be breaking these guns down just a little bit more and showing how they can be used with gameplay in the background in a new video this week that I am trying to talk to MLG to see if I can get the rights to use the gameplay. But first, the ARX, obviously its damage is going to be around the same as a Bell, with 3 shots to kill, 4 shots to kill, and then 5 shots to kill at a long range. A 610 rate of fire with a burst delay. Obviously it will shoot a little bit faster than that. It's going to be shooting around 800 rounds per minute, but with the burst delay of 0.1, obviously it's going to slow that down quite a bit. You don't have to use extended mags on it though, with a 45 mag count. And then obviously it has less recoil than the Bell and can shoot through almost any surface. It is quite devastating. Obviously players like Parasite has been trying to test this gun out to see if it's actually worth playing with to me, it seems more like an M16 from COD 4 or Modern Warfare 2. It can be used. It definitely can be. I really think that more people should try it out. It's been with the buff of the 45 mag count. Obviously, most people won't think of that as something big, but it definitely helps it because that frees up a class slot and you don't have to worry about trying to run extended mags or something like that. But if you do run extended mags, you go all the way up to 67 rounds, which is really, really nice. Next up is the Atlas, the single fire pistol, which is a 2-shot kill at really, really close range, a 4-shot kill at medium range, and 5-shot kill at a distance with an 800 round per minute and 10 rounds in a clip. And obviously it has a longer medium range than the next pistol we are going to talk about, but with the buff to this gun to give it that 2-shot kill up close, people with good trigger fingers like Clay and stuff like that, if they decide to use a sniper rifle, they are going to feel quite a bit better with being able to dominate at a close distance with that 2-shot kill. But even with how short that distance is, it is going to definitely hamper on them quite a bit. And last is the gun we've seen Aqua use. We've seen quite a few other players use. It is the PDW. Obviously, many people are comparing it to the Cap 40 from Black Ops 2, which I don't feel it's that strong with a 4-shot, a 4-shot, and a 5-shot at long distance, respectively. With a 750 rate of fire and 15 rounds in its mag, it doesn't have anything that sets it apart, obviously, than being fully automatic, so you don't have to sit there and pull the trigger repeatedly. That definitely does help breaking it down and getting those close range gunfights, but having a 4-shot kill up close is definitely going to be devastating when you're going up against things like an ASM-1 or a BAL, or even the ARX. If you look at that gun as actually being competitive with its 3-shot kill, it can definitely dominate you up close. Whereas the Atlas and the PDW definitely have that comparison in them with both being pistols. And if the Atlas user's trigger finger isn't as fast as what it could be, the PDW probably would outgun it with it being fully automatic. So those are the 3 guns that I want you guys to look deeply into. And those are the things that could be happening in the near future. Now, here's a question that we all have. Do gentlemen agreements have a place in the league? Obviously, this is talking about things like Overkill, the IMR, and everything that all of the teams have been agreeing on that aren't in the MLG rule set. Personally, I don't feel like these should be going on just because every single one of these players is going out to win. You shouldn't be sitting here telling yourself, oh, I can't use this unless it is in the rule set. Just agreeing with some of your friends or some of the people you talk to. Personally, if I'm going at you and I'm playing Search and Destroy, I'm using Overkill. Regardless if you want me to or not, I'm going to use Overkill. And truthfully, that's a little bit of a stretch. I feel like if they banned fast hands, it would knock down on the grenade spam and knock down on Overkill use overall. But obviously, we're not going to see any bans coming up anytime soon. A lot of teams have been talking about getting rid of the IMR and Overkill, and truthfully, neither one of those things really need to be banned. It just really needs a new balance, especially with it being a pick 13 system instead of pick 10. We do need to add one more point in there for the EXO ability, but truthfully, those 2 points definitely need to be allotted to something like streaks, because that's what they were meant for, not to add more points into your class. Obviously, in pubs, that's what it's meant to do. You can do whatever you want with it. But with competitive being how slacked it is right now, we need to add those streaks in there. Obviously, that's what saved Black Ops 2 and created it into being one of the most competitive games. So with it becoming a pick 11 with having to have 2 streaks, that could create some really big diversity. Obviously, with things like the Warbird, the Missile Strike, the Bombing Run, they're all competitively viable, especially if you look at teams like SB who have already used them and watch teams get pissed off. That's another gentleman's agreement that needs to be broken down. No LMGs, that's bullshit. Every single one of these guns have a little bit of a balance. You look at the Amelie, it's a 3-shot kill, but you move as slow as a fucking cow. there's no real reason to ban something if you move slowly with it, but it hits hard. If you wanted to ban something, you should be banning the BAL. If you really want to argue here, the BAL is by far a better gun than the MLE. It's a 3-shot kill up close, and you can move faster with it. To me, that seems a little bit more overpowered than an MLE that you move at the base speed of molasses, if you want to be truthful. So, truthfully, gentlemen's agreements, get the hell rid of them. We don't need them. Truthfully, if you want rules put in, talk to the league, get it done, and don't sit here and stress out over it, trying to talk to other people about getting them put in and getting every single team in the league to agree to it. Obviously, because not every player is going to agree to it, and you're going to get pissed off at them for no reason. So make sure you guys talk to your leagues and get these agreements put into rules. If not, go out and play with the guns that you feel are going to give you the best shot at winning. Now, I would like to talk about the Advanced Warfare League MVP. There's 3 people that I feel definitely could be considered, and I do feel like the number one leader in this category right now is Scump. Obviously, with having a 1.21 KD right now and leading his team in quite a few of the objective categories, he has been by far one of the most consistent players in all of Advanced Warfare. Next up is number 2, Clayster at a 1.1 KD. Obviously, he's been a dominant AR all of the AW season, so it really kind of makes you definitely put his name in there. He's been consistent at champs, he's been consistent at regionals, and it really makes you really want to put him up there. Obviously, he does have a chance to steal this away from Scump, but I feel the number 3 and the dark horse is definitely Burns. With having that 1.06 KD and having 11 caps for hardpoint, he is by far one of the dark horses that could take away League MVP and breakout player of the season. He's been by far one of the best players in the league. Many people won't consider him one just because of all the problems that AR is having, but he was one of the main reasons that the team finished 5th at COD Champs and truthfully was one of the breakout teams of COD Champs. If they get that little bit of a help with Mochilla, his old duo from Curse, that could be a very scary team and definitely be scary in the future. So make sure you guys leave your comments down below and tell me exactly who you guys think is going to be the league MVP after seeing the halfway mark. We have about 6 weeks left of the COD League, so make sure to leave either hashtag Scump, hashtag Clay, or hashtag Burns to tell me how you guys want to vote and tell me who you think is going to win the MVP of the COD League. Next up is the question, does TR reform? This is a big question everybody's been asking. There's a couple days left for transactions. A lot of teams are going to be in Europe for ESWC, but Prophecy has a huge dilemma on their hands. There's been major questions asked and something leaked on stream last night as I make this video. Saints was talking to a few other COD pros and said, I feel really bad for Doug. It's sad to see him dropped again. This is talking about Doug Center Martin possibly being dropped off Prophecy right after they picked up Aqua. Now, this puts more pressure onto what Remy has just posted on Twitter saying about how TR has broken up and will not be playing other than these next 2 tournaments and playing out of their mind for Team Revenge with their old team. But Team Revenge has now been removed off the Gfinity bracket. That is something big to look at. Obviously, with players like Remy, Nagafen, and Facento all being fill-ins for quite a few teams, there is a few trades that could go down to make that team possible. Obviously, you look at Elevate, where Facento is. Truthfully, he's said that he wants to worry about school, so he may not be coming to Prophecy. If he does, They could trade somebody like Apathy, who is just playing with Classic. Or they could trade somebody like, not really sure other than Apathy. Apathy is going to be one of those players that is one of those swing players where they can trade him anywhere and get anybody they want. Obviously, he's one of the bigger named players who did not move during the off season. But then we look at a team like Denial, who has Nagafen, and Remy, who's on AR, who may have already been traded for Mochilla. Those are the two players you really have to look for, because if Vicento doesn't come, those two are the players that will be going to, obviously, the new TR. And if you look at it, the player Vicento is the leader of the team, and that would fill Ake's role quite a bit, being an AR with Nagafen obviously being the support for him. And that's a pretty nasty team, being Ake's, Aqua, not Vicento, Nagafen, and Remy. That gives them every single slot that they need to fill. And truthfully, now looking at it, it's quite a bit better than the team that they have now. I do feel like Apathy, Sensor, and Aches definitely have their merit in what they do, but I don't feel like Apathy measures up in not skill, but definitely knowledge. He definitely doesn't measure up to, say, a Crim6 who plays the same role, or even an Aches in game knowledge. Obviously, Aches is starting to slack in the game skill just a little bit, but that is what I think about that. I do feel TR reform under Prophecy. And I felt like in the end, Prophecy was going to end up being one of the teams where TR could have reformed. So that's my opinion on it. And I would like to take this out, guys. As always, there is a link down in the description if you guys would like to donate to help out me and this content. And make sure to leave your comments down below for who you think is going to be MVP. Do you think TR is going to reform under Prophecy? And any other opinions you guys would like to share with me. And as always, guys, Below out.